Excellent. So Paul is now going to be telling us about 2021, Not a Space Odyssey. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe he's connecting from space there. Maybe that's why it's been just
as you can see, I've got lots of space.
Excellent. So over to you, Paul, and yeah, thanks for joining us.
Hello, I'm Paul Marrow, and I'm not very good at connecting with StreamYard, and I'm talking about 2021, which we're in now, which is not a space odyssey, unlike the film released some time ago and the SF novel that came out even before that. When I was a child at school, I was given this great book, but looking back at it now as an adult, I think the title hasn't really lived up to its expectations. I don't know what you think about it. But I also have another book predicting the future, which said that last year we were going to have a base on Mars. And what were we doing last year? Well, not really traveling all that much, I don't think. And what would this base on Mars look like? Well, here's an artist's impression, maybe when it was going to be constructed, but I haven't seen on the news anything like that at all. So a bit disappointing about 2020, really. I also have other books predicting the future, like this one, the Omni Future Almanac. You can see a number of the categories on the cover look very up to date and interesting. It also predicts the future of eggs, and in 2021, we're definitely eating eggs. And a few years ago, there was this film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which did indeed show that flying saucers do appear. But I haven't seen one like this myself, except in the cinema. I don't know whether you have, but that was a good film anyway. And science fiction books suggested that we might be living in these ring-shaped space colonies which spin round, so there's a sense of gravity on the outside of the ring. But I haven't seen any of those either, and we're not living in them. Or alternatively, we might be traveling slowly between different solar systems in generation starships. And here is an artist's impression of one. They're called generation starships because they take generations, but we haven't seen any of those either. There's plenty of other ways to travel between solar systems. None of these have actually been built, but they have been designed using ion drives on the left, using laser beams, the blue thing on the right, using fusion bombs. Another thing that people predicted, but we haven't seen yet, is a base on Mercury. It would be a bit hot there. That white thing in the top left-hand corner is the sun. It's perhaps a good thing there hasn't been a base on Mercury. But we did get some things right about the future. We put a lot of people in manned missions around the Earth. And indeed, when I say manned, I don't just mean men. And they were very successful, and they keep on being successful. And we sent a probe to Saturn, although I don't think Saturn looks quite like that close up. But then, as a person, I haven't been there anyway. And we did a few other things as well, but I don't know what's coming up on the next slide, so I'm not exactly sure. Yes, we've built different engines, although they're not quite the same as what Charles Babbage thought they were going to be, and they're definitely a lot smaller and very much more convenient. And so we've all got them, although we probably don't use those terms for them. In fact, you may recognize this. It's got a difference engine inside it, and it does all sorts of useful things. It's not just a phone or a camera, and that's because it's got a computer inside. That's what we call it now. But we can go further than that. We can actually remember it for you wholesale, as the late, great K. Dick said many years ago. But that's because if you don't have space on your laptop or desktop, you can get it from cloud services. And if you can't remember what you put in these cloud services in this data center here, we can have services to help you remember what it was that we're remembering for you wholesale. Not many of us have been in these data centers, but we're using them every day. And we can do other things. Well, this happened a few days ago. NASA's Perseverance rover is busy wandering around on Mars, taking pictures and collecting things and having fun, if a robot can have fun. One thing that was predicted by science fiction writers, and it is busy going on, are wars and other fighting using weapons. Unfortunately, even though we might have wanted this to go away, what we are all waiting for now, apart from me finishing, is all tomorrow's parties, when we'll be allowed to go to parties without worrying about how many people are there and whether we're indoors or outdoors, whether we're going to be prosecuted for doing it. So in a sense, 2021 is a space odyssey because we're being restricted in how we can get close to other people. This is to reduce the pressure on the NHS, for which we have to thank a lot. And I'm going to have to move soon to give some space to somebody else, but I've been told that I need to create some small talk in order to set up the next person. Although here's Adrian, so maybe he's going to take over from me. So
excellent. Thank you very much for that, Paul. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should. Like, you've been